Good morning, Trojans and Lions. Today is Wednesday, making it a wonderful Wednesday. And for today's math lesson, we're going to do something a little different. We're still using rows and columns, like you see right here, which are part of arrays, which can make a rectangle. Remember, when we put our rows and our columns together, it makes the shape of a rectangle. Now today, as mathematicians, we will use square tiles, like the ones you see over here, to decompose a rectangle. So decompose means to break apart. We see our rectangle right here. We have 2 rows and 5 columns. And we break it apart, we decompose into still the 2 rows with the 5 columns, but we've broken part of the rectangle apart. So our first step, and you'll see this in your Google slide, is to construct a rectangle with 5 columns of 2. So this is step number 1. We're going to make a rectangle, and remember, a rectangle is an array. It has the columns and the rows. So it says 5 columns of 2. So I know columns go up and down, right? They are vertical. Columns are vertical. So we're gonna make 5, and each one it says of 2. So that means the square tiles that we have in the column, there's 2 of them. So here we go, we have 2. So that's 1 column. 2 columns. 3 columns. 4 columns. And 5 columns. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. They're vertical, up and down, and each one has 2. Now your second step is going to ask you to separate. You're going to separate 2 columns of 2. Now this means that you're still going to keep 2 square tiles, the ones you see here, in your columns, but you're going to separate it into 2 big columns. So 2 big sections. Right now we see 5 of them. We need to separate it into 2 big columns. So we're decomposing, we're breaking apart. So if I think about it, I have to create a number bond, it tells me. And you'll see this on your Google slide. You'll see your number bond, it looks like this. Remember, that's your whole. And we started with how many altogether? How many columns? We started with 5 columns of 2. Right, this is our whole. Now we're going to break it apart. We're decomposing. Say decompose. We're decomposing into 2. Do you see that? 2 columns. 1 column, 2 column. We're going to have our parts. Now we have the number 5. How can you break up the number 5 into 2 numbers, but when added together, it gives you 5? Yeah, we can do 3 and 2. So let's separate our 5 columns into 2 big columns of 3. So you're going to separate these into 3 and into 2. So now we have decomposed them. So our first one that we decompose has 3. So 3 columns of 2. And our other part has 2 columns of 2. Now remember, these are the parts. These are now the parts. Now finally, you'll see on your Google slide that you need to write a repeated addition sentence for your parts. So you'll see something that looks like this. And that's your repeated addition. So remember, the spaces means how many columns we have. So we have 2 over here. And the number that goes in it is 2, because we have 2 in each one. So 2 plus 2 is 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Here you have 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. And that should give us the total of all the tiles in our rectangle after it's been decomposed. All right, let's review. First, we need to construct. Number 1, construct, make your rectangle. Number 2, you're gonna separate, you're gonna decompose, break apart your rectangle into columns, bigger columns of 2. You're gonna write your number bond, number 3, with the holes in the parts. And finally, number 4, you're going to write your repeated addition sentence. All right, scholars, let's give this a try. It's a lot of steps, but just take it one at a time. You got this.